name is Nikki. I work with the Adult and Teen Services Department, and today I'm just going to show you the various ways you can create your own wax seal. This is something I started getting into a couple of years ago, and I'm really excited to show you guys there's so many different ways. I hope you enjoy. Alright, y'all. I know the table looks kind of a mess, but first I'm just going to show you all of the options you have. Over here, we have little wax dots, little tiny shapes of wax. And then those go in a nice little melting spoon, not a normal spoon. I mean, unless you want to dedicate that spoon for nothing but wax seals. But a nice little spoon that you can heat up and melt. Then there's obviously the hot glue gun. This one I'm going to show in not the normal manner that I would. I'm going to use the glue that comes in it and one of the wax seal dots that partially melted already. But they do make sticks specifically for your hot glue gun. You do have to be careful though, because they're at least wider than this one. They're slightly thicker than your standard hot glue gun stick. So double check that before you try to use your hot glue gun. Make sure that the sticks will fit. Over here I got metallic markers, which you can use to make each seal more interesting when it's done, when it's dry. I have a candle. This is where it'd be, with the normal traditional manner of wax seals, this would be your heat source. However, because I am in a basement, I have a heat gun. Do not try this at home unless you know how to use a heat gun. Candles are good. Candles are safe. As long as you're an adult and capable of controlling a candle. So just be careful. Alright, that was my safety advisement out of the way. Next, we have a bunch of melting sticks. These all have wicks in them, so you can treat them just like a candle and they'll melt. As with candles, you'll want to trim the wick a little bit. But again, because I'm not using an actual flame today, I'm just going to melt them with the heat gun. And we'll see how that goes, because this is my first time using a heat gun. One thing you will need is a receptacle, in this case the plastic container the wax dots came in, to rest your hot seals, because they will get toasty and sticky. And you're just going to want a place to put them so that you don't get all over your table. I normally use like a paper plate or something, but whatever works for you, whatever you feel is easy to take care of. Alright, into the actual seals themselves. They come in a variety of sizes and a plethora of patterns. Today I got a big ol' snowflake, a smaller fleur-de-lis, a deer or reindeer, a dragon, and another little fleur-de-lis with an independent stamp. These untwist, so you can swap them out. You can buy them all over. All of the ones I have here today were presents from my mom. She got them from Amazon. You'd probably find them at your local craft store. Whatever works for you. Alright, so I'm going to plug in the heat gun. So we're going to get started. Okay. This is louder than I anticipated, but we'll be fine. You will also need paper or something to put your wax seals on. So I got blank paper, and let's get started. You're going to want to get it at like an angle. So like, I think I'm holding it at like a 45-degree angle so that it melts. And try not to get it on the heat gun, because that'd be mean. And depending on the size of your seal, that's how much wax you're going to want to drip. So this one's going to take a minute. Fun thing I'm noticing, the heat gun blows air, so it's actually blowing all of the wax sideways. So I'm going to try and get it all to collect in one spot. Alright, I'm going to switch colors, because that's what I wanted to do today. Alright, normally this is a fast process. Heat gun is slower. Good to know. I'm just trying to get a cool pattern in this for you all to see what's going on. Just trying to get some red and gold going on. Okay, I feel like that's enough. So, gonna make sure that there's nothing on the seal, and I'm just gonna drop it in. Gonna let that sit for about 30 seconds so that the pattern can take. I'm gonna move these off of the paper and into the plastic container I've set aside for this purpose. Just a word of warning to y'all, it will smell. Alright, and then when that 30 seconds or so is up, you're gonna lift it up, and your seal is done. Let me zoom in. There is your seal. Now, when this is totally dry, you can take one of your markers, whatever you want to use, and just color over it, like lightly, so you're getting the up indentations, and make it stand out more. Entirely up to you. Alright, I'm gonna set aside the heat gun for now, because that's big and hefty. And I'm gonna try my official first experiment with this hot glue gun. Alright, so it's been plugged in for a bit. Trying to get... Let me move these out of the way. Trying to get this little wax dot, this little dude, to melt with some hot glue. I think it's too big. But this is the official experimentation process for today. If I had a knife, I would try cutting it, but I don't. So, official experiment. I don't know how hot this hot glue gun gets. Maybe it's hot enough, maybe it's not. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to coat it with the glue and then let it sit for a minute just to see if that's hot enough to melt it. Going to set that aside. Safety first, as always. And it looks like it's melting, so that's promising. I'm going to use one of these that I don't care nearly as much about because I don't know how the glue will react to it. That's still warm. That's not great. Going to use the second fleur-de-lis that I have, and just this one I'm going to apply a bit more force just so the brown explodes. And I'm going to pull it back. Actually, I'm not. Hopefully I don't glue my seal to the paper. That would be unfortunate. All of these methods that I'm doing would be best done on the ready to send envelope or card or whatever it is you're sending. Like, these are not the type that you pick up and then tape or glue on. Just because I've never actually tried those, and I don't know if that would work with the wax that I'm using. The wax that I'm using is like official sealing wax, by the way, so it's designed for this purpose. Except for the hot glue gun, which is, again, just glue. Alright, that could have been better. It's not terrible. There's the camera. Where am I going? Ha, okay. There we go. It could have been better. It's toastier than anything else because it's still hot glue. But it's not bad. Definitely not sure if I'd do that again with hot glue. I think I would try to find a glue gun that works with the wax sticks that I have. And speaking of, I'm going to try melting one of those now. Which means it's back to my buddy, the heat gun. Gonna rotate the paper a little bit. Gonna rotate it one less. And here we go. Because this one doesn't have a wick, I think it'll burn faster, or melt faster. Well, fun fact, y'all, that was not the color I thought it was. I like it. Alright, gonna try and make it a uniform shape this time. Gonna try and get something going. Alright, I think that's enough. Gonna make sure it stops dripping wax when I set it aside. Let's do this one. And again, gonna let that sit for about 30 seconds. That one's a lot wetter than the other ones that I've been using, so that's interesting. That's probably because it was meant for a hot glue gun, so it's not as solid. But the more you know. Okay. Oh yeah, that I like. I like that a lot. Gonna swap out this one because I've done enough fleur-de-lis today. I'm gonna make a dragon at some point. Yeah, the heat gun, that's a lot of unnecessary wax on this one, but it's a learning process. I'm figuring it out. And then look at that. That one's amazing. And I don't know if you saw, the stick looked really pink. This, like the seal that I did, looks almost orange. And then you can see the disaster zone that is this paper I've been testing on. Just because heat gun blows the hot stuff all around. I'm just gonna layer one more piece of paper. I'm just gonna layer more paper just because while I am using a protective mat, I still don't want to get too much heat on the table. Alright, so I have more sticks to use later just because I want to make cool looking holiday seals. But for now, I'm going to try and fill my spoon. I only have 2 dots in there. I don't think that's enough, so I'm going to try and find more of the same general color scheme that I'm going for. One thing that I do know with the dots is that you can mix, you can do crazy color combinations. Like with the sticks, it's a little harder because you do have to melt them first. Alright, and hopefully the spoon doesn't get too hot in my hand. Right. With the dots, I am going to preface this, you have to have them melt completely. They have to melt in their entirety first. Let's see how this goes. Oh, they're starting to melt. Cool. Good stuff, good stuff. I just need you to melt all the way so that your seal doesn't come out lumpy. I'm coming off camera because they're starting to get real liquidy. If you're doing this over a candle, at this point you could swirl the colors with a toothpick or something, just to get that nice color combination going. Alright, I'm almost there. When you're doing this, you do not want to burn the wax, otherwise it's never going to come out of your spoon. Alright, and now, pour. Alright, going to set that one upside down on the paper because I want all the wax to come out of my spoon. And I'm going to do a snowflake. I'm really excited about this one because the colors looked amazing. And the spoon did not heat up in my hand, so that's always a bonus. It smells a little bit. It smells a little burnt. Probably took them a bit too long. But it was the first time I've ever used the dots, so now I know. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay. So, I'm going to open the markers while I wait for that one to dry, because I want to color that one before I show it to you. So I'm going back to the first one that I did, because it should be dry by now. Okay. finish this up and then I can show you what I did. Normally with these I use just like your standard metallic Sharpies. These came with one of the sets of sticks that I got, so it's a little different for me. It's a new thing. Alright, you can sort of see it when I get the glare right. It's not the greatest marker. It's not the greatest. I tried using the silver one just to try and get some contrast because I had the orangey copper kind of going on. But it's a little bit more defined. I just did it on the upraised part of the fleur-de-lis, so that's something. Knowing that, I'd probably have to do a couple of coats to get it the way I want it. So can't recommend those markers, but silver Sharpies I know work. Look at that. That was the one I just did with the dots. That's amazing. I love that that just turned out. It's beautiful. It's great. And as you've probably noticed, shapes are... You can try to get your wax in a circle, but it's not always going to work out. It's eventually just going to do what it wants to do. And that's just part of the fun. Like, it's... The amorphous blobs are what you sign up for with this sort of thing. You hope for the best, and if it comes out, great. If not, you still got something cool. Because, like, as much of a mess as this one turned out to be, I still like it, because I like the shape that I got. I mean, over here with the blow tendrils, that's not super great, but the general shape, I appreciate. I like this bit. And that's just the fun. These can travel through the mail. I have sent letters with wax seals on them, and it was great. Alright, I'm going to do one more, and I'm going to try to get 4 colors going. We'll see how this happens, because I'm using the heat gun one more time. Hopefully it turns out, because I want this one to look really cool for y'all. Alright. Here we go. Let me get the paper situated. And zoom out a little bit so you can see how this works. Alright. Because the heat gun is basically a hot hairdryer, I'm trying to make sure that I catch any blowback on the paper. So, and also try not to catch things, like try not to melt things that are off to the side, because that would suck. And here we go. Okay, trying to get 2 for 1 out of this one, so. Dragon. And the reindeer. Okay, that one was a bit of a cluster, but gotta make sure I don't. Ooh, actually I have enough for a 3rd one over there. let's do that. Alright, so one final note, the heat gun, not my favorite. Would not recommend for this. It's kind of a mess. It melted my snowflake, that's kind of a bummer. Oh, it totally melted that. Oh, yeah. Well, should have probably done the biggest one first, but the more you know. Alright, I'm dismantling all of my bits. Give me 1 second and I can show you the end result. So that's a nice blob of paper we got going on. And if I zoom in on this red and orange disaster, zoom out a little bit just so you can see. And those are the last, that's the frame. And those are the last two that we got. I got the deer over here, and I got a nice little dragon over here. These are fun. So I mean, the colors worked out. That was a good idea. The way I did it, not the best. But yeah, that's really all you need for a wax seal. And patience. It's not the speediest process. All of my stuff melted with that last one, but it worked out. Thank you so much for coming, and I hope you had a good time. And I hope you enjoy the rest of our Fall Fandom videos.